Hey, everybody, and welcome back. This is another jazz piano, and this one's a bluesy jazz piano tutorial today from me, your host, Rob Mullins. How's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. And today we're going to look at a classic Miles Davis tune from an album called Kind of Blue, which is, just one of those innovative things that Miles did in his illustrious career. And when you take a look at things like the fake book chart here, you can see that when you analyze the structure, which you should always do before you learn a tune, do a little structural analysis so you have some idea what's going on. What's different about this tune? Well, it's not a 4/4 blues, and up to this point, most blues was in 4/4. So when it became 6/8 or 3/4, everybody went, "Wow, it's so innovative!" Just like when Brubeck took that old classical lick and he started playing that in 5, right? So Miles decided he was going to do the blues in 3 or 6. And what's going on here? We got our 1 chord, that's for 4 bars. We got our 2 chord, that's for, our 4 chord for 2 bars. Then we got back to our 1 chord. That's all standard. Here at this spot in bar 9, where we always land on the 5, we usually go down to the 5 chord here. We usually go down to a 4 and back to the 1. But Miles says, "Oh no, I am Miles, the great one. I'll go up a half step to the E flat." So he goes from the 5 to the sharp 5, and then back down to the 5, and then back to the 1. And I think that's what people that understood the blues, really kind of noted about this, because first off, they started thinking, well, what's going on here with it being in 3/4? Blues isn't in 3/4. Well, it is if you're Miles. And then they heard that weird chord change instead of the 4 chord, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So don't forget to download the worksheet. The link is there below the video, and you should grab that, because the rest of this tutorial is not going to make that much sense without the worksheet. So we're looking at the comping pattern that I've put together for you, and this is a pretty easy one. Let's look at what's going on here. So our bass note's a G, and then we've got just a little F from the bottom of F, B, and the bass clef, D, and the treble clef, and that pattern just moves up. Right, does that for a while, does that for a long while. And the phrasing is more staccato. It's like staccato on that last quarter note. You hear that, right? So analyzing and continuing. Now I wrote this out in 3, so it's going to end up being 24 bars instead of the 6 in the fake book chart. So make a note of that, right? 12 times 2 is 24. All right, so here at bar 17, we've got that same little pattern, but it goes to a B flat, and that's going to be this from the bottom up. Here's a root, and then F, B flat, D, and then back to the B natural on the 1 chord, and then D7 plus 9, right? E flat, D. And then here we're just going to follow what the 2 horns, Cannonball and Train, did, along with Miles, and play this chord. This is the 3 horns on the original arrangement. Okay, so that's the head of the tune. Now, the head's going to happen twice in the play along, where you're going to get a chance to play, which is going to be fun. We're going to get to that here in just a second. And after the head happens, then there's a repeated solo section. So for the solos, if you look at this, it's just an F and a B, and that's, of course, going to be over the bass player's part. Now, this F is the flat 7 of the G7 chord. The B is the 3rd. I call this axis of the 7 and 3, or axis of the 3rd and 7. There's a lot of different terms. Some people call them shell voicings. The way I learned it was axis of the 3 and 7 and axis of the 7 and 3. When you go to the C7 over here, you see I'm mousing over it. C's in the bass, and we have the 3 and the flat 7 on the C7 chord. So that's axis of the 3 and the flat 7. And then when it goes to the 5 chord, I put all 3 notes in there. There's that third note, that +9 on the top's important. Then E flat, then back to D. And now, just to keep it interesting, what I did in the play along is I put in a turnaround at the end of the phrase. So it goes G7, E7, A7, D7, like that. All right, you got it? So, all right, so you should be seeing my studio, and yeah, that's cool. Now, something you want to know is that I'm going to have a bit of a delay here because it's Zoom, so it's probably going to be, I don't know, something like 23 milliseconds, maybe 30. It's hard to say. But you got the worksheet, and we're going to do this right now. We're going to play this comping pattern in with the play along together. So get your keyboard fired up if you don't already have it happening, and let's just lay this comping part down. You can see it on the keyboard, and let's rock and roll with All Blues by Miles Davis. Here's the head. Four chord. Second time through, let's do it. All right, that's your comp right there. So that's something you can just, work on your own. Be sure you count the bars in there. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, like that, because that's going to be important, man. If you're not familiar with counting, then you should go watch this movie with Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman. It's called Rain Man, where they take counting to the extreme. That's a lot of fun. So what I want you to do now is I want you to comp along, and I'm going to turn to my recorded comping track here so I just have it, but you should play this along with me from the top and just comp along. And I'm going to do demos of 2 types of solos. The first one is going to be a bluesy solo. And if you watch my tutorial on blues licks, which is part of the playlist of this educational stuff I'm doing on YouTube, then you know that there are some cool blues licks in there, this kind of thing, and the Oscar Peterson thing, that's in there too. And then, little things like rolls. That kind of stuff in there. So let's give it a try along with a play along and see what happens. All right, let's do this. I'm going to play the head, and you should just be playing this comp along with it. All right. And then I'm going to take a bluesy solo. So here's the melody first. Repeat the head. Five chord. Bluesy solo. You got it? So that's the idea there with a bluesy solo. That's what's happening on a bluesy solo, right? You got all those licks. Right? And that's fun. So now we're going to try the same kind of thing. And this time I'm going to do my style. Maybe I can hit the record button this time on Logic and see what happens, right? Maybe it'll pop in there and do something cool. So we can watch this go down in real time, because I know some people think that I pre-record this stuff and I fake it. And I never do. So let's try it this time with the record on. So you're going to play the same thing. You're going to comp again. I'm going to play the head, and then I'm going to take a more jazzy chromatic approach to the tune this time, right? Here we go. Repeat the head. Check this out. That's a little Rob Mullins thing in there for you. that's kind of more of like how I would do it. Um, Kind of my take on that sort of a thing. A really fun tune, little miles for you today. It's a beautiful day. I'm having a great time. And you know what? If you want to take your playing to the next level, just sign up for sign up for a few classes and I'll show you how to do all that outside stuff that I was doing right there, along with any style of piano you want to play. If you want to play pop like Elton John, or do Herbie or Jarrett or me, or Coldplay, anything that you'd like to study. So if you got something out of the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. And if you have a topic you want to send in, something you want me to address or record for you, let me know. And my website is planetmullins.com. You can find lesson information. All of my books are there for sale. Everything's marked down 50% off. And it's a pleasure having you on board with my jazz piano tutorial. So have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Rob Mullins signing out. In conclusion, summary, bye-bye.